So James Gunn gets the job as co-CEO of DC Studios in November of 2022. People will bring this up to bash him for having many movies bomb in the box office, but context needs to be added here. Warner Bros. Already had their slate of movies for 2023 and 2024 before Gunn ever even entered the picture. They had Shazam ready, The Flash, Blue Beetle, and Aquaman, all movies which Gunn had nothing to do with. Now, you can argue he should have came in and tore all of it down, but let's be real, nobody's doing that. Gunn respected and honored the movies that were far into production and let them come out. He did make minor tweaks to the endings of some of the movies. For example, The Flash's original ending would have made Michael Keaton the new Batman in the DCEU, kicking Ben Affleck out, and that would have connected to the Batgirl movie. But James Gunn always knew he was going to reboot. So if he had kept this ending, it would have promised a future and setup that would have never came into fruition. So what did he do? He turns it into a gag and Michael Clooney returns as a joke. And then for Aquaman, I guess Ben Affleck would have been in that too for setup, but Gunn knew they were rebooting Batman. So what does he do? He turns that ending into a joke. But what's the alternative? Set up for stuff that isn't going to happen? This is where Gunn used his power for the right reasons. Besides the little tweaks to the endings, the movies all remain the same. It's just so annoying to me when people bring up all the flops with Gunn as CEO when there's nothing he could have done. Finally, after the slate did come to an end, he was able to go guns blazing into his own slate. Chapter 1 of the DCU. We got Creature Commandos, good show. Superman, great movie, was huge in the US. Internationally, I wish it did better. And Peacemaker Season 2, which was also great, except for the ending. So yes, though he's been in charge since 2022, the DCU has only been going for a year. And now we're in year 2 of the DCU and the gun has jammed. Supergirl was dog shit. And it's flopping on levels we've never seen before. But if you think James Gunn should come out and surrender and admit his failure, you're crazy. People are LARPing this clip of Kevin Feige admitting his failures and calling himself a loser because of the unmade Blade movie.
Excited that we got Wesley back for a time in Deadpool and Wolverine, and like a gigantic loser and failure that we didn't get off the ground with Mahershala.
You do realize it took him 7 years to do this, right? This man announced the Blade movie all the way back at Comic-Con of 2019. COVID wasn't even a thing. That's 7 years ago. And he brought out Mahershala Ali. And it's not like people haven't asked him about it, because they for sure have. But he just dodges the questions and gives a politically right answer. Yet Supergirl, which is a month old, people want James Gunn to get in front of a camera and beg for forgiveness and admit he fucked up. Like, what? What do y'all want from him? I got a better one. Has Kevin Feige ever said anything about Quantumania? Has anyone questioned why the hell the writer of Quantumania was given an Avengers movie? What about Love and Thunder? What happened there, Mr. Feige? Secret Invasion. I think the worst thing Marvel has ever produced. Movie, show, you name it. It's so bad, it's not even canon anymore. Seriously, we'll never see Emilia Clarke's character ever again. I don't even remember her name. And the Rhodey being a Skrull thing since Civil War, I guarantee you that will be turned into a joke. These are stuff Kevin Feige won't allow to be asked. And if he is, he'll downplay them as just some bumps on the road. Yet for James Gunn, who's a year in, people want him making an apology video for Supergirl? It's easy now for Feige to admit the Blade mess since the MCU is going in a new direction with the Mutant Saga. The fact is that the DCU is still in the early stages. And though he might be co-CEO, there's so many obstacles in Gunn's way that weren't there for Feige. Like I already explained, James couldn't even do anything for his first 2 years in charge. Compared to Feige, there was nothing in his way. Yeah, Marvel was making Spider-Man movies, but that's Sony. You don't gotta worry about that. X-Men movies, no problem. That's Fox. He had a clear slate. He could do whatever he wanted with whoever he wanted with the properties that he owned. The truth is, nobody in this industry is going to get in front of a camera and admit their failures, unless it's several years later. So people coming at Gunn's head wanting an apology because Feige admitted he messed up with Blade is not the same as Supergirl. A big question that is constantly asked regarding the DCU is, when's Batman coming? Dude, this question pisses me off so much. James Gunn cannot do Batman right now. He literally can't. The worst thing you could do is have both Batmans compete with each other. In this situation, I can't even believe I'm going to say this, but in this case, you have to take a page out of Sony's book because they're in the same predicament as you have been. Sony's got 2 Spider-Man movies in cinemas. We got the Tom Holland live action movies and we got the animated Miles Morales Spider-Verse movies. This could be a recipe for disaster. How is the general audience going to understand that there are 2 Spider-Mans? Well, for one, it does help that they're in different formats. The Peter Parker movies are live action and the Miles movies are animated. But it's not just that. It's also the fact that they release with gaps from each other. Always a year apart. Never in the same year. We got Brand New Day around the corner in July 2026 and Beyond the Spider-Verse in June of 2027. So basically a year apart. That's how you do it. You guys do realize the Batman Part 2 was supposed to originally come out in 2025, almost a year ago. Then it got delayed to 2026, then it got delayed to 2027, and now again to 28. You don't think James Gunn wants to do Batman? It's literally his favorite superhero. He doesn't do Brave and the Bold because he has to wait for Batman Part 2 to come out first. But with the constant delays, that automatically means Brave and the Bold gets delayed too. At the earliest, we get it in 2029. A solution to this is to have Batman appear in other people's projects. Though technically he already did in Creature Commandos. And maybe he's in Clayface, maybe he's in Man of Tomorrow, but I would argue it's probably not even wise to cast Batman this early. Though it looks like I'm wrong and Batman is already casted. Continuing with explaining the DCU slate, we have to hold on Batman, but we want to establish the Gotham of this universe, so here's the solution. If you've been paying attention to the slate, there's a common thread between all of the stuff that has come out already. A big problem the MCU has had is that a lot of the movies feel the same. They all look the same, tell the same jokes. To differentiate themselves from Marvel, Gunn has made it a priority to show off the different genres the DCU will dive in. We can make an animated show, Creature Commandos. We can make a classic, lighthearted, traditional superhero movie, Superman. We can make a more mature, violent, filled with nudity and profanity show, Peacemaker. We can do a space movie, Supergirl. And we can do horror, Clayface. This is his plan, to show that every DCU project will look and feel distinct from one another. He has to deal with the cards dealt to him. You don't think he wants to do Wonder Woman? I will admit this, it was incredibly dumb for him to announce Paradise Lost, which would have basically been a prequel to Wonder Woman. But he has fixed this. Paradise Lost is not happening anymore, and they are going straight into Wonder Woman. But then why did we get Supergirl instead? Because the Wonder Woman movie isn't finished yet. The same woman that wrote Supergirl is also writing the Wonder Woman movie, and she just said in an interview that it's still in the early stages, so it's not even close to coming out. I will also admit this, so you know I'm not glazing James Gunn. The fact that the Supergirl movie writer is also doing Wonder Woman is not good for me. Supergirl was terrible. I'm not even gonna try to defend that movie. I've seen some people say it's not as bad as people are making it out to seem. It's mid. No, fact is, Supergirl sucks. But at least with Supergirl, she's a side character. Even if Supergirl was great, it was never going to be a big box office hit and resonate with audiences like that. A movie like Supergirl low-key offers more bad than good in my opinion. But it's fine. She's a side character. This is a filler story. But someone that you cannot take a risk for, someone that you cannot afford to be bad, is Wonder Woman. Part of the Trinity, she has to be a priority. If I'm James Gunn, I'm putting all my resources into Wonder Woman and fast-tracking it. Because if Wonder Woman is bad, God forbid it flops, it's over. Like literally, it's over. And the same goes for Batman too. Another big critique I've been seeing James Gunn get hit with is his absence from Comic-Con. Now at first, I agreed. I think it is a massive mistake for DC Studios to skip Comic-Con, especially when Marvel looked to be back better than ever with Brand New Day around the corner and the release of the Doomsday trailer that has done numbers. What else does Feige have to announce? Marvel is back and the future looks brighter than ever, especially with the X-Men looking to be a focal point partaking in the mutant saga. But what does James Gunn do? He just skips? I think this is the worst thing you could have done. To just put your head down and stay silent, especially after the Supergirl bomb, you can't do that. You have to make yourself heard and show people you aren't going to back down. In my head, I was thinking DC should do a big panel centered around Wonder Woman, because that's what most likely is their next big movie after Man of Tomorrow. But then I started thinking of the optics. The script is not even close to being finished, and James Gunn has already learned to not announce a bunch of shit that don't have a finished script and he likes. She's not casted yet. Maybe Adria Arjona is actually Wonder Woman, or maybe the Maxima stuff is real. We don't know. Maybe she is Wonder Woman, but they want to save it for the movie. So then I was kind of understanding why DC is skipping Comic-Con. They have nothing to show. Batman Part 2 has barely started shooting, so they can't show anything. Matt Reeves isn't going to give out details. The movie's still far away. He's not going to say who the villain is or who Sebastian Stan and Scarlett Johansson are playing. So Batman Part 2 is out. We got Man of Tomorrow next year, but what is James Gunn going to say? We already know it's a Lex and Superman team-up movie along with some other DC superheroes against Brainiac, who we also know is being played by. Maybe a trailer, but for one, I don't think they're done shooting yet. And two, James Gunn has said that Comic-Con isn't necessary and that sometimes it's best to just release stuff online themselves. I kinda disagree with this. There's a bunch of superhero comic book conventions held throughout the year, so to not be able to go to all of them makes sense. It's expensive, there might not even be stuff to show, but San Diego Comic-Con is where all the big moments happen. It's the biggest one. To just say it's not necessary is a spit to the fans. This is where all the fans get together and continue building upon your fan base. Yeah, they got that little lanterns panel and a little bit of Clayface, but that's not enough. But for reasons I already explained, due to circumstances, there's nothing Gunn can do. And a lot is banking on Man of Tomorrow, so it's probably wise of him to continue working on that as his contract is set to expire soon. Because if Man of Tomorrow flops, he's out. And that's also probably why he doesn't want to do a Wonder Woman movie announcement, because there's no finished script and you might not even be in charge anymore when that movie comes to the light of day.